Welcome to the Savvy Leader Podcast. We're so excited to have you here. This is the perfect place for leadership growth, learning, and inspiration. Let's get started. Welcome to the Savvy Leaders Podcast. We're so excited to have Jill Brown with us today. She is the owner, CEO, all things of Jill Brown PR here in Minnesota. And she's got a really interesting story and some insights that I think we will all find fascinating. So, Jill, welcome. We're so glad to have you.
Thank you so much for inviting me to join you today. It's great to get a chance to visit with you, and it's so exciting that you're doing this podcast.
Yeah, I'm excited about it too. It's been such a journey, and I'm just really hoping to get some really great insights out there for people about our communities and folks like you who have an impact kind of quietly sometimes, but you're doing big things. So tell us a little bit about Jill Brown PR. How did you get started? What inspired you? And more about what you do.
Sure. So Jill Brown PR formed more than 30 years ago. And the reason it was born was related. I was trying to have children, trying to birth children. And my husband at the time and I were having infertility issues. And it became a part-time job just to manage the infertility treatments and the attempts to get pregnant and then the attempts to stay pregnant. And doing a little bit of freelancing fit in perfectly. So my first client was Anoka County in the environmental area, reduce, reuse, recycle ideas. I had worked for Anoka County. I'd worked for the Anoka County Board of Commissioners before I went to work for the state of Minnesota, in both cases being public information officer, communications director. So it was easy to pick up some freelance work at Anoka County because I knew the people and I knew the projects that were going on there. And once 3 children arrived, my one daughter she's approaching 30 and my twins are approaching 25. Then it became a lifestyle choice to stay at home, but work. I hired a nanny, so I had someone helping with the kids while I was working in the home office, long before anybody had home offices, but it was the balance. And I think that's always been key for me is making the work life support the personal life. I have a philosophy of focusing on 3 things every day: happy, healthy, and wealthy. And putting happy first impacts the healthy and the wealthy. It works much better than putting wealthy first. If you're burning the candle on both ends, trying to make ends meet, your health and your happiness suffer. So it just became a lifestyle. Part of that lifestyle doesn't work for everybody. I mean, I am never exactly unplugged. Clients reach me on my phone. I carry my laptop with me almost anywhere. But some people see that as anchored to work. I see it as freedom with work because I'm on the go. I'm about to leave for Scotland, and this will be my 3rd trip to Europe in just over a year. But because of technology, I stay in contact with my clients. They can get a hold of me. I can work and travel.
Okay, so you've opened that door. I'd love to hear more about that because you're referring to something that's become quite popular, and that's traveling and still being tethered to work wherever you're, like remote working, but like globally. So you're not just, at the cabin for the summer, you're in Scotland. Tell us about how that all came about.
Well, I think COVID makes it easier. I think COVID sent everybody home and people discovered, we can still get things done. We don't have to be under the same roof. So that makes it much, much easier. And then having clients that we have the relationship. I only had one client get nervous when I went to England and Scotland and Ireland and Germany last fall. And the one client that was nervous was a brand new client. And that makes sense. They didn't know me, but it worked out fine. the clients that I've had forever. My favorite on that last trip, one project I've been working on since 2007. It's a major infrastructure project to restore passenger rail between Duluth and Minneapolis. So these clients know me well, but they called me several times, and the conversation would always start with, "Where are you?" And I'd say, "Well, I just landed in Belfast." "Oh, well, we don't want to bother you. We were hoping you could find a letter we did in 2010. I can find it. It's online. I can find it. And the next time they would call, "Where are you?" "I just landed in Berlin." "Oh, well, we don't want to bother you, but we were hoping you could help write a letter." "I can do that." Yeah. So, and every time they called, they were curious. "Where are you?" So it was kind of fun for them as well. And we didn't drop any balls, didn't miss any deadlines. And that's in a very, they're pursuing funding and they're trying to hang on to their funding. It's very political, it's very charged, and I'm able to do it anywhere in the globe.
I just think that is incredible, in this day and age to be able to do that. Have you also discovered others doing the same, or maybe even, have you employed any others doing the same thing as you are?
Yes. So I have, there's 4 of us in the Jill Brown PR team, and the other 3 are almost as mobile as I am. That's one of my work environment benefits. It's like, okay, I can't pay you a gazillion dollars, but I give you flexibility. And I'm not going to monitor if you're at your laptop at 8 in the morning. Here are the assignments and here are the deliverables we need for our clients. If you want to go camping, go camping. Have a great time. Empowering people to pick their environments and to balance their lives. And as well, I was a member of a coaching community for about 4 years until about a year ago. And many of those folks were similar to me, entrepreneurs, taking their skill set and building it on their own. And all of us followed that happy, healthy, wealthy. So all of us focused as much on what are you doing about your health and your happiness? And then, how's your business growing?
Mm-hmm. So you touched on a couple of things there that I'd like to expand on a little bit. One is the happy, healthy, wealthy piece of it. I know you've talked about that at length, and you even got some really great tools that you share with people that help you maintain that. Um, so it was inspired by a coaching program that you were involved in, or was this something
Yes.
else?
Nope. Nope. The Happy, Healthy, Wealthy came out of a coaching program called Ultimate Life that was founded by Jim Bunch, and Gina Piggott was the CEO. Both of them are now pursuing other interests. So the Ultimate Life isn't an option for people at the moment, but I've made lifetime friends in that group. The Happy, Healthy, Wealthy is built on the 3 A's of awareness, action, and accountability. That accountability is really important for me. I need external accountability. Lots of people have that internal accountability. You can do something just because you told yourself you're going to do it.
Mm-hmm.
I, every day, Monday through Friday, have a quick phone conversation with a friend. His name is Jeff. He is a lawyer. He's been in the same coaching program I have, and we check in on Happy, Healthy, Wealthy every day, Monday through Friday. We exchange scorecards that are divided into those 3 categories where we identify habits we're trying to build, or we identify short-term goals that we're working on that week. And we send that to each other every day. And we either have a smiley face, we got that thing we promised to do done, or we take an X if we didn't get it done. And when we talk on the phone, we say, everybody gets an X, no big deal, except that's your 3rd X this week on that same line. What's going on? And we talk it through with each other and give each other encouragement to keep going. So that Happy, Healthy, Wealthy worksheet, that awareness, action, accountability, those are the things that drive me.
That is incredible. Just thinking about having that relationship. How long have you and Jeff been doing this, talking Monday through Friday every day?
Almost 4 years.
Oh my gosh.
Maybe it's
So
coming
I
up on
think
5.
I think that because a lot of us have looked at accountability partners and tried to establish relationships, but they fizzle out. So
It's hard.
what's special about the relationship you guys have to be able to maintain this every day, almost 5 years? I love it.
The foundation, we took the same classes in Ultimate Life, so we speak the language with each other. That's important. And then that scorecard has been key because that is the agenda every day. It isn't a random, oh, how are you doing today? No, we are on an agenda. And it's, I don't know, we're in sync. We are really in sync on encouraging each other. I've had
Do you
other
feel it?
accountability, I've had other accountability partners.
Yeah.
Uh, and they will come and go.
Hmm.
The difference with Jeff is that daily agenda.
Okay. Do you think that you guys have a unique relationship, or is this something you've seen before with others using the same tool?
I've seen it before with others using the same tool.
Wow, that's incredible. I love that.
I recommend it. I recommend it.
Okay. Well, I love that. And but the coaching program is no more, is it not out there anymore for people to tap into, or
It is currently not out there.
okay. So you've got something really special in your hands. I love it.
Yeah, but
The
I
other,
think the message is find the coaching program that works for you.
okay,
I think everybody can use a coaching program.
that is so true. That is so true. I think many of us we get held back by things like the cost, um, just common fears of what if I can't do it? What if I fail? What if I, just those basic fears, and just the vulnerability of allowing someone to actually, because you have to allow them to hold you accountable, and it can't be someone in your world that you care about, like your partner or a good friend, right?
No, that doesn't work for me. No, no,
Yeah,
that's very true.
I would
And
agree.
when I started the coaching program, I was probably expecting more nuts and bolts of how do I structure my day? How do I manage my time? And what I
Mhm.
got was different. I got figuring out my values, doing an exercise where my top 5 values were identified. And that's been more useful to me in the last several years than anything else because it taught me if I'm feeling stressed about something, that means something's out of alignment. If I can identify which one of my top 5 values is getting pushed on right now, oh, then that kind of releases some of the tension, and then I can, talk about what kind of boundaries do I need, or what do I need to ask for. So I was surprised that values were going to be more important than time management.
And isn't that insightful? Um, well, before I get too far away, another thing you touched on prior to this conversation in what you were stating about that empowerment piece of it. Um, in any type of business, I feel like where there's a team involved, um, there's a bit of a hierarchy, of course, and sometimes navigating that hierarchy can be difficult. Um, so there's micromanagement, and then there's macro management, and then there's just kind of this relationship that you have with your team. There's a trust there, where you're counting on them to get the work done, regardless of what time of day, maybe not what time of day, but how long it takes. I mean, you're essentially not asking them to punch a clock. You're giving them the work to do without the expectation of exactly how it gets done. There's probably a deadline or a date that it needs to be done by, but you're giving them that autonomy, it sounds like, to take it on and get the work done and complete it in, satisfactorily by a certain date. But everything else in the middle is up to them. Is that what I'm hearing?
Yep. Yeah,
I
that
find that
is what you're hearing.
I find that so profound because in another conversation I had, it's a coach who works with larger teams and the whole back to the office push. That's such a thing right now. As we know, it's so trending because a lot of people are pushing back. They like the freedom. And what it sounds like is people, in not every case, but in many cases, or companies are recognizing that they may have, an entire team out working remotely from home. And there might be one or two people on a team of 20, let's say, that may or may not be fulfilling their obligations as expected. Either they're late or the work's just, they're not available when they need to be. So what's happening is corporations, large companies are like, well, then everybody's going to have to come back to the office so we can keep you here, so we can keep an eye on you and hold you accountable. And it punishes the people that you're working, the kind of people you work with or that you employ, because they don't need that type of micromanagement. So talk to me a little bit about, or talk to us about what that looks like as the owner of the company, and when you run into a time when someone isn't actually fulfilling what you believe to be your standard or what's expected. How do you handle that?
One of my philosophies is tell the truth faster. And so I did have another employee. It wasn't a good match. I think that person would do better in an office setting. And deadlines were getting missed. And there was two, three, I lose track how many conversations of expectations being restated, offers of, what can we try different? And in the end, saying both of us are now frustrated. Both of us are not enjoying this, and let's talk about, is this working? And I did all of that in a matter of a couple of months, rather than wait and see, rather than kick the can down the road. Just tell the truth faster.
So you've been able to just set up the type of relationship where direct conversation, authentic conversation is just part of the norm. You've normalized the idea that, yes, you have a lot of autonomy and we're going to be able to have conversations. We're going to talk about it. It's going to be just a normal, because it seems to me what the holdback is, or the trouble with in other situations has to do with um, the concerns about, taking disciplinary action, or even, firing someone because of this, because of repercussions and things. But it sounds like the kind of relationships you've developed, that's not an issue because you've laid that out clearly.
So far it's working, knock on wood.
And that is why you are so inspiring to me. Because that is such a concept. And, I spent a lot of years in corporate. I know the HR background. I had to do much of those things, and in a leadership role. And it can be difficult, but what was frustrating was knowing that, the old saying, two bad apples spoil the whole bunch, or one bad apple. And it would be really disheartening to have to do things like that I was informed, I was directed to hold teams accountable in such a way. And so I feel like what you're doing is so sensible and logical. And I just don't know why it can't be more normal, why it can't just be that way.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I would love it though. And I think a lot of people would, because I think we have a lot more people in our workforce that are capable of handling that than we realize. We just are too afraid of the couple that can't handle it. And we're worried about what they're going to do if we have to have hard conversations. Jeez. Okay, well, we will get off of that topic because that could go on for days. Talk to us a little bit about an average day in the life of Jill Brown. What kind of projects are you working on? I know you work with our local governments a lot, and I think that that's really interesting how those wheels turn and how the part that you play in that. Share with us some insights there.
Sure. So our little team specializes in clients or projects that have multiple stakeholders. The big infrastructure projects, roads like Highway 610, trains like NLX to Duluth, worked on the second train to Chicago, now called Borealis. And though also I have a client, it's called the North Metro Mayors Association. It's a collection of 16 cities, suburbs, and several community partners, and they work together on legislative work plans. These are items that have a regional impact, so they can come together to the Capitol together and advocate for investments, both public and private, in the North Metro. These are cities that might compete in a million ways for state funding, for example, but they can agree on transportation. They can agree on different policies that impact them all. So it means a lot when the legislators see them showing up together to support the third lane on Highway 10 through Coon Rapids, or to support finishing Highway 610. That took more than 30 years. The North Metro Mayors Association came together because of Highway 610, because a couple of mayors recognized if we don't start working together, we're never going to see this corridor built. And thank goodness they did. And many more investments have been made since those early days. So a typical day is interfacing with these groups that have multiple stakeholders. They've signed a joint powers authority agreement saying we will work together on X. We will work together on that passenger rail train. So that's what they have in common, but they have their own agendas. There's carrots. There really are no sticks with a joint powers authority. So it makes for interesting work to interface with the city of Minneapolis and the city of Cambridge. I mean, talk about your, David and your Goliath, but they do both want this train. So finding ways to get them to work together on their communication efforts, get them on the same page with their messaging, what they're telling the people that live in Cambridge should be the same as what they're telling the people that live in Minneapolis. But it's different when they don't work for the same boss. Well, they work for the voter, but the voter is different in Cambridge and in Minneapolis. Mm-hmm. So that's a lot of a typical day. And it might be working on media. Reporters are calling pretty regularly about finance changes at the Capitol right now. And that's finding the right elected officials to speak to them. Sometimes it's me. Once in a while, you'll see me in a news story. Not often, and much rather get the clients in front of the camera or on the other end of the phone. But sometimes it has to be me. And working with the elected official to get them ready to talk to the reporter, make sure they know what the messaging is, get it to be concise. Not like today where we're just having a conversation and seeing where it goes. When a reporter calls, we have 3 things we want to get across, and only 3 things we want to get across. But I do enjoy the media relations. It's a rewarding part of the job. One of the clients I have that I never thought I would have had, because I'm just me. I'm just, it's me with my little team, but we're working for Microsoft. We're doing construction communications in Ohio. And so every week I'm checking in with the construction team to see how the site prep is going. I'm communicating with people at the city to keep them in the loop, communicating with neighbors that are surrounding the construction site, making sure any issues are addressed right away, nipping any rumors in the bud so we don't have problems that we don't need. And that's it's been very rewarding to work with such a large corporation and be the liaison between them and the neighbors that are impacted by a construction project. We also work with nonprofits. Crestview Senior Community is one of our longtime clients. and we're helping them just engage with the community to uh, if you don't have seniors in your life, you will be a senior yourself here soon, and knowing what resources are available to help you or your loved ones is also rewarding. So all the clients I have right now, I would handpick if I could off of a shelf. Give me a choice of have any clients in the world I want, I would pick these because they all have missions that I think are important and resonate with me. And it doesn't feel like work. It feels like play.
I love, love, love that. You touched a little bit about politics. And in Minnesota specifically, I feel like we've got a relatively, I don't want to use any buzzwords, but we've got some huge differentiations between our rural communities and our city communities in terms of, you know, political viewpoints and people engaged in that realm. Have you seen, I mean, that's got to be kind of a fine line for you to walk when you're working with rural and city.
It can be. I focus on the project we're working on. In the case of NLX, which goes through so many territories, and some are red and some are blue, some are purple.
Mhm.
I've really just focused on what is it this train project can do. And there are some people who will not engage on the topic. And that's okay. You know, I also have the belief that these large infrastructure projects, they should be pushed on, they should be questioned, they should be tested. So when I find someone that's against the project, well, let's have a conversation because I will learn something. And there are it takes forever to do these projects. Like I said, I've been on it since 2007, and there is not a groundbreaking date in sight right now. But that's okay because they are big investments and they do alter the course of the state and the country. So it shouldn't be easy. So
Mhm.
I say lean into those conversations and listen. Doesn't mean I have to agree, but
Mhm.
I will always listen.
So being able to keep yourself Switzerland, that neutral territory, is
Oh yeah.
what is your goal when you have to manage kind of those big
Yeah.
differences in parties that you're working with.
I wouldn't say Switzerland. I mean, I am all for this train project,
Oh,
but
okay.
I will say listen because opposition serves a purpose. You know, it's like a car with only an accelerator. If you only have a gas pedal, it's not going to be a good car. You need brakes, so you need both the gas. It, you need a little variety, and sometimes over the course of these years, cities or counties will assign someone to the board because there's a board that makes decisions about these joint powers agreement efforts. And sometimes those individuals are not for the project. And you say, okay, you know, you got them at your table. If they're at your table, they're not going to burn down your house. So let's keep them at the table and let's listen to what their concerns are. We might learn something and adjust our course.
I love it. I mean, it sounds when you put it that way, it sounds so logical. And I think it sounds like too, maybe removing some of the tension and emotion from those conversations um, can be helpful.
And I found in working with these elected officials that they know they need to get along with each other more often than not. Yes, you see them button their heads, especially if there's a camera on or there's a reporter there. But I've seen those same people that butt heads working together to try to find common ground. That's what we all want in the end.
So are you saying that sometimes our political figureheads are a little bit different on camera than they are in person?
Yeah, I
A
am.
little bit,
Yeah.
maybe.
Mhm.
Well, and I think that's okay. I think that that makes sense. And I'm glad actually to hear that, you know, we see the space and we hear the opposition because that's the message they want to get out. But that doesn't necessarily mean, you know, what some might think it means. And I think that that's good. I think that's good for our communities and the things that we need. So that's
Mhm.
forward motion.
Yeah, that's right.
Um, so before we wrap it up, I would love for you to share some insights about your journey. If you were to look at a young or a person new to public relations or media relations, or even just venturing out into the entrepreneurial world like you, what are some things that you would love for them to know, or what do you wish you had known on your journey?
Earlier, I wish I had known about figuring out my values. That would
Mm.
have helped alleviate some stress points. I wish I had learned about boundary setting earlier because it's been a struggle for me at times to realize I can only control myself and I can only make choices for myself. And learning it's not a question of well, I've already, I'm divorced. So I learned to switch my mindset from can I trust him to do what he says he's going to do to watch for the pattern and trust the pattern. Trust the pattern and then set my boundaries on what I'm going to do when that pattern continues. And learning to trust the pattern freed me up in a million ways rather than trying to anticipate what he was going to do next. Just watch for the pattern and then trust the pattern.
Oh.
So I wish I had figured that out sooner. And I empower anybody to really focus on your happiness. It's a good thing. I think in my early career, I thought it was all about produce, produce, produce. And
Mm.
no, no, it's really about be happy, be healthy, and the wealth is going to come along.
And it's okay to choose the people that you want to work with. I think
Mhm.
that that is such a profound concept when you're looking at struggling entrepreneur trying to make ends meet. I think it's, as you mentioned, it's just be true to yourself and your values and working with people that align with that are in the long term going to be so much more beneficial than just transactional. Having transactional relationships is only going to take you so far.
Exactly. That's very true.
Ah,
You're right.
so great. Well, thank you so much, Jill. This has
Well,
been
thank you.
just a wonderful session. I think, you know, understanding that you work with some political figureheads, I'm excited that you're working with such a large corporation like Microsoft. That's got to just open up some huge worlds for you. And it sounds like the basis of your business is following your values, using some accountability, and being consistent with your daily schedule. Um,
Mhm.
but also empowering the people you work with, your team,
Mhm.
to do the same.
You wrapped that up really well.
Are you hiring? I might be looking, maybe.
Yeah, I'd hire
Yeah.
you in a minute.
Oh my gosh. Well, again, thank you for spending this time with us. I cannot wait to share this story with the world and highlight all of the wonderful things you do in our communities and the big impacts that you're having. So thank you.
Oh, well, thank you. It's been delightful to visit with you.
And if people want to find you, where can they find you?
My email is jill@jillbrownpr.com, and that's the best way to get a hold of me. You can find me on LinkedIn as well.
Okay, awesome. I love it. And I'm just excited for your success. Congratulations.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
And here's to many, many years of successful podcasts.
Yes, thank you. All right, so that'll be a wrap for us, you guys, for this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. And again, thank you to Jill Brown and Jill Brown PR for being with us today. Thank you so much for joining us for this week's edition of the Savvy Leader Podcast. We were so glad to have you. Be sure to check out the SavvyLeadersLounge.com for further inspiration and resources to help you be the savvy leader you are always meant to be. See you next time.